And they were there at the foundation of organic farming in California. But again, there's limitations on what's acceptable. You can't turn our nation into a foreign nation. There has to be assimilation. There has to be some level of control. Now, it's sad because Anne Frank, she was waiting for immigration and she couldn't get here. So again, we tend to lean towards allowing immigrants in, but if it's a hostile takeover to cause our nation to be the nation they came from, that's not happening. Then they got to go, and we'll figure it out once we get them out of here. It's a hostile takeover. I realize that. I realize Russians are playing a game. I realize the Chinese are playing a game. And they have a lot more money than I do. But again, they're not as effective. So again, there's people that, homeless people, unhoused people, whatever you want to call them, that need housing. There's people that want to protest, and the counter protesters are interrupting their protest. I'll help you out with that. It's pretty clear and concise. Because again, if I play the game everybody else is playing, then I don't help homeless people. The immigrants have to go. It isn't a game just to attack immigrants. What they call illegal aliens need to go. They are illegally here. Whether it's civil or criminal, it's neither here nor there when it comes to illegal. All right, so what happened here, this went back to the other. It makes me think that this is up there, but it's not. Right, and I did push it to that, so I don't know how it went back to that. Right. Because I can click it and it's just what's going to be on next versus what's on now. So kind of reverse there. So it's, again, because I say the truth doesn't mean that I don't work with people that maybe the truth kind of doesn't benefit them as much as someone else. Well, that's one of our problems, is that foreign nationals have ruined their country. Then they come here and they get to tell us how the world's going to exist because they have drug money, sex trafficking money, fraudster money. And our politicians leave us because we can't bribe them and wouldn't bribe them anyway. They're bringing in the bribing class of people. That's what they're doing. I told you 8 years ago, at least, that the Chicago's working for the narcos, all their politicians. And Russians and the Chinese would bless that because it ruins a country. But again, there's homeless people, there are people that need help, there's people that need to be deported, and I'll help whoever needs help if it's consistent with what God is attempting to move to fix everything. Again, remember, if the majority of the immigrants have the mentality of the person that beat up and assaulted and robbed, I don't care if you have a criminal history or not, I know what you're about, all of you. I've been in your communities. You're corrupt, all of you. If they have the mentality of the person that assaulted the person that the Good Samaritan saves, then they need to go. They're not the immigrant. They're not the stranger. They're the person that assaulted the person that the Good Samaritan saves. Again, we're going to need immigrants at a certain point, and it can't be just people that can buy the gold card. In fact, you have to be careful because the gold card, you could be importing the narcos. and the sex traffickers and the fraudsters, because they have the money. Again, they have the money to pay. They have the money to bribe. So again, MacArthur Park is a bigger issue than, maybe that's why I have to speak it up. It's a bigger issue than the average problem when dealing with unhoused tent cities or whatever it is. And part of your problem is that unchecked immigration. No, I believe in LA, what's her name? Karen Bass could win without immigrant votes. But I don't know about New York. That one's a little bit. Well, in fact, let me take that back. If the two, Cuomo, and I forget the other guy's name, the guardian angel guy, if they would have decided to combine forces, yeah, then. But it's still a lot of immigrant vote. I can't tell you how many. I don't know if anybody investigated that. Foreign national vote. Again, there's a lot of criminals in New York City dealing dope, sex trafficking. Again, you pay the right person, you can do it. You just got to find out who it is, and then they got to let you in, because they can't let everybody in because the cops have to arrest somebody to make it look good. The way it works in Mexico also. It's working. She's already stepping on her pee-pee, if she had a pee-pee. Who? Shambum. She's already saying stuff that has to be making the president angry. Like, her whole tone changed. It's not us, it's you. When's the last time you bought armored vehicles? Serious armored vehicles? Never. Why? Because you'd win the war on drugs. So again, there is a wear-out date, and they're not going to impeach Trump. I have a feeling that the vote's going to go right back to the Republicans, if it even left. Democrats have a great media machine that lies to everyone about what's going on. They did it in the last election. Remember, Harris was going to win until that last moment, because they pump the people up and they send them money. So again, from MacArthur Park, I think it's going to take a little bit more tough love to get that thing working. I don't know if you ever clean it out. I mean, there's whole sections of cities. The way most cities get better, it's unfortunate, but because people don't want to commute, they revitalize a section. They all, what are they called? The developers. They say, if we develop this section of the city, redevelop it, build it back up, keep it safe, we'll get the professionals from downtown. Now, I don't know if people are still doing that, commuting downtown. They're building places outside of the downtown area, out in the suburbs. But again, some people still work down in the cities, and they revitalize, but the money moves in, and then nobody can afford to live there. So, but Again, that may be the only thing you can do if you cleaned it up and revitalized the area. But you probably have high dollar rents and things like that. You'll just probably move it somewhere else. So I guess tough love is really it. Force them into the programs. We are going to decrease the amount of narcotics coming from Mexico. It's just a given. We're not going to play the game. Mexico does not respect anybody's sovereignty. Who are they fooling? Those people are state-sponsored terrorism and state-sponsored narco distribution. She knew that if she didn't go after El Mencho, Trump would have came in there and went after him. And she wanted to stop that. Because that's why she's gabbing. She's just gabbing all the time about sovereignty, because she knows it's close. So she's losing power because she's saying things that are just so off the wall and so false. No, it's not us. It's you, because you need addiction counseling and you need to stop the firearms that our police and law enforcement are being bribed to let into our country. As well as the politicians. And that's not very well. You know, the United States doesn't have the most porous border in the world. Mexico does. And on top of that, you ever notice when one U.S. citizen tries to drive into Mexico with a little pea shooter, he goes to jail, or she goes to jail right away? No questions asked. So how is this smuggling happening? Let's guess. So again, if somebody elected a certain way, they're elected, they got in. Again, the same thing with the midterms. You can corruptly and criminally get elected, but there are very few judges that are going to change the outcome unless you really can prove every jot and tittle. Because that's the system, how it works. You can't hold up elections forever. So you actually, like doing what Trump's doing now, he's trying to fix it beforehand. Yeah, Schumer, I don't, Schumer didn't use the word illegal alien or immigrant or anything, but he's like, oh yeah, Trump just wants to take these people. He called them people. The people off the rolls. ICE is good. Because you see, ICE is the dirty word. ICE! Those MFers are going to take people off the voter rolls. They're not people, they're illegal aliens. They just use that word, ICE. ICE, it's ICE! No, that's Border Patrol. It's ICE, it's ICE! No, it's an FBI agent. Right. It's like the N word. They created an N word. Right. So Schumer's going to try to use the N-word. ICE is going to take people off the voter rolls and not tell them. Let's figure this out. ICE, immigrants, foreign nationals. So again, however people get elected, you got to work with them. If you're seriously about helping unhoused people, if you're serious about helping, people that are, trying to exercise their civil rights. And then I told police officers, I said, you're the ones that need civil rights more than anyone else. Don't poo-poo civil rights. And then it happened. They kept poo-pooing civil rights, and what happens? They all get pulled in. Right. And they violated their civil rights. There's a ton of cases out there. I'm not anti-immigrant, I'm pro-immigrant. I'm anti-corrupt immigration. Again, anti-corruption. Because the mechanism is the locusts destroyed Mexico. Now the locusts swarm up here and try to destroy the United States. It's only a matter of time. They thought it was only a matter of time until their takeover would work globally. But, there's people in Portugal I just saw screaming about their being pushed out of their city. Well, eventually somebody will get elected. They'll have a law enforcement military force escort them out of Portugal. We're nice, actually. Someplace like Portugal, they won't pull punches. I'll just round them up, throw them out. Again, if they wanted to be nice immigrants and assimilate, and then they go, oh, you mean grovel to you white people? Well, obviously, what I saw going on in Santa Fe, New Mexico, you brown people don't have a clue. You have a clue on how to get rich and how to let drugs in and sex traffic and destroy good people and defraud charity systems. But that only lasts so long. And take money from pedophiles. Down there acting like they're tough. Oh, yeah, we're a big anti-pedophile state. It's all a scam. They got that pedophile scam so deep. Either you're a pedophile or we'll call you a pedophile. It don't matter. and we'll extort money from you. Or we'll get payment from narcos to do it to you. He wouldn't pay. Now, he might be guilty, I don't know. But it looks too much like he wouldn't pay the New Mexican who was extorting him, so then they put charges on him. I was actually surprised to see that New Mexico had a consent age of 17. I actually thought it was 18 because back then I thought it was 18 everywhere. But it was 17. Well, I thought they would make it try to make it 15. 16 unless your parents says it's okay, and then it's 12. That's the reality in New Mexico. Yeah, it doesn't matter what it says anyway, because, I mean, it's amazing. Some of the state cops, they know what's going on, and some of the other state cops don't. So eventually you're going to get this young guy. He's like, oh, yeah, I pulled over this guy and I got him. He's a pedophile. I hope he wasn't covered under the deep state. They'll come get us. Right. I'm serious. Their kids are having more sex than adults that are like in swinger clubs. Well, yeah, that would partially clean up Crawford Park if you had a revitalization, but I don't know if that's plausible. If somebody came in and redeveloped the city, and professionals moved in, and it wouldn't be the safest area until you got it there. Again, your laws have to do something. You can't. Wisconsin, was it Wisconsin? I guess no, it was Wisconsin. It was Oregon. Oregon already learned that you can't just ignore the narcotics issue and say that they're okay because it's only possession. I don't know if they got to the point where I told them to get to. I know they were working it forward, because you can't just say arrest a person that's in possession. Now the judges may be in, and I think it should be part of a law where that detox and that rehab is mandatory, like a sentence. But you can't sentence to a jail because there's drugs in jail, and it's hard to catch because, again, there's corruption and other things. But there's also the fact that you have to increase the urine testing, right? Unless they use some other testing now. I don't know if they do or not. But I think urine testing. You have to increase toxicology, and they only do that in those clinical settings. It wouldn't be. You have to isolate them and put them there, because it wouldn't be. I guess you could do it in a jail. You could say if you're on the program, you have to get tested, but it just doesn't make sense. A jail is not a place for detox and rehab, but the streets is not a place for detox and rehab either. So you can't just turn a blind eye. I don't know if it's true. I'll have to look it up, but I think I did read it. Can't believe everything you read. But in Iran, heroin in the 50s, I think, early 50s or something like that, went out of control. Everybody was addicted to heroin. So they made possession punishable by the death penalty. I don't know how many people they killed or didn't kill. But they had, within 2 years, they had no heroin problem any longer. So Trump's about to enact a death penalty for distribution in Mexico. Actually manufacture, right? Not just distribution. No, we'll call her Claude. Claude Shambum. I think Claude has got some issues, so we'll call her Claude. Because she don't have any IA in Mexico doing anything to clean anything. IA being internal affairs. She's saying things that are making a lot of people mad. A lot of people don't speak out. I mean, there are people in Europe mad at what she's saying about the United States because it doesn't make sense. She's responsible, her nation's responsible for global addiction. Global addiction. I think they're all wowed by El Mencho being buried in a gold casket, but I'm sure he was on his knees crying in the spirit world. It's a sad commentary. Oh, Hashem will take him through life after life after life to meet these people that he's responsible for their death, meet their families. That movie, The Scrooge, is real. That happens in the afterlife. But again, you don't have that opportunity to go back. So again, what was happening is probably still happening in Mexico. You have new cops, they got families, and at a certain point, cartel shows up at their kids, band practice, or their kids' 4-H club, where they parade their prize bull around, or goat, or sheep, or whatever it is, or chicken, and he's got a choice: let it all be killed, or pull punches. And that's because the government does not protect their people on purpose. He can only arrest the people they tell him to arrest. Well, he and his family will be killed. Or she and her family will be killed. So you see how they grandfather it in? Oh, if they don't commit a crime and they keep a job, then you can't do anything to them. They get to be a citizen. I've never read that anywhere, have you? And even if I was a criminal, you better have a warrant. Right. And I'm a U.S. citizen, so if I punch you in the face, you're not allowed to arrest me because you're only immigration police. I mean, where does this nonsense come from? Russia, China, the narcos, waging an insurgency against the United States of America, a spycraft insurgency. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do.